Anyways, guys, the story behind this knife, just looked online actually, and that's how I kind of learned about it, about the whole brand in general. But the owner of Bark River Tools, his name is Mike Stewart. It was about 2006 that the Recon Marines, they bought about out of their own pocket about more or less $5,000 worth of knives just for testing. And they got a pretty wide selection of knives by a lot of different makers, mostly high-end stuff, some different issue level models. And this is not actually the knife that they selected, but they did select a Bark River knife, one that's called the Gameskeeper. And the differences between this and the Gameskeeper are, the Gameskeeper doesn't have this ramp right here. It also had a built-in like finger guard, one that's added on afterwards, and also had a long choil from about here up to here. And the knife may be just a little bit longer. I don't know the exact specs, but the Marine Recon Group actually asked them to make a couple modifications to the Gameskeeper, and hence the Bravo 1. That's how that came about. The bottom line is when they were selecting this knife and when they chose this knife, they didn't have in mind for it to be a fighter. They wanted it to be a survival knife. Their opinion was that guns and bullets are for fighting, and knives are for tools. And so, like I said, when they set about testing and do everything, they selected the Bark River Gameskeeper, and that was the winner. And then they just made those changes to make it to the Bravo 1. If I had to decide myself what I'd use it for, I think I'd use it for pretty much anything. I would select it, of all the knives that I have, as my #1 survival knife. I could use it for bushcraft, I could use it for defense. It's stout. It's very thick. You can see that on the spine. The handle's very comfortable. I mean, it really just feels great in the hand. It's not too short, it's not too long. If I needed to make any sort of chopping with it, I need to be real careful here before I destroy my wife's table. It's long enough you can really grip it here and make some really nasty chopping with it. You can also really choke up on the blade as well if you need to make finer cuts. I mean, that thumb to me just rests just fine there, or if you need to make any sort of controlled cuts there, maybe with the base of your blade, that's where that could come in handy. But as far as comfort level, man, it's just fantastic. And what I would use it for, I would say just about anything. Other than maybe everyday carry, like going to work at the office, I probably wouldn't pick this guy up. But anytime I were to go camping, hunting, anything, I'd probably grab this knife. I might use a different knife for the actual hunt, but the knife's going to function well in pretty much all roles, in my opinion. The baton's great, slice is great, chop's great, and like I said, it does do some finer work as well. What I've done with it so far, why it's got that kind of sticky stuff on it, I have done some batoning with it with some stickier wood. My wife wanted me to get rid of the Christmas tree, and well, I took that as an opportunity to do some more testing with the knife, and handled the Christmas tree just fine. Chopped it up into pieces that were small enough to fit into the trash can, and had a lot of fun while I was doing it. So just didn't take the time to clean it off real well. I described earlier that the knife is made of A2 tool steel, which some people kind of freak out if it's not stainless steel. In my opinion, it's gonna perform a lot better out in the wild. With harder use, it's gonna chop better. It's gonna require basically a little bit more maintenance. But to me, I would compare it to a good gun. If you have a gun and you shoot it, which I don't know why else you'd have a gun, you're gonna want to maintain it. You're gonna want to oil it, keep from rusting up or corroding on you. And my opinions are the same with any sort of knife. I don't recommend having to baby it by any means, but yeah, if I do get it wet, and when I'm done using it, I dry it off. It's pretty simple. And just like a gun, if I got it wet and then dried it off, I would put a little oil on it, keep it from rusting, and that's pretty much all I do to this. Haven't had any problems with pitting or rusting at all whatsoever. It's a very tough, hard steel. Performs great in everything that I've asked it to do so far. The sheath itself, it's okay. I suppose it's form of Kydex. It is designed so that it does snap right into place there. Removed with your thumb. I wouldn't move that index finger. I'd keep it right on the handle when you're removing it. You don't want to really, slice that guy up, but these things are pretty crazy sharp, so you gotta be careful. It does have that drain hole in it as well, so that if you do get water in it, or if you decide you want to scoop some water up out of the river with it, it's not gonna hold that, so don't try to use it for that. And that's pretty much it. Bravo 1, if you guys have any questions, by all means.